Creating success out of failure. Creating success out of failure.
I'm Jonathan Federa. I'm here to inspire you to hustle and grow your income while doing what you love. Just because you have problems doesn't mean you can't prosper. Just because you have tragedy doesn't mean you can't triumph. Actually, you should be taking advantage of that.
There's positivity in my pain. I took scarcity and turned it into strength. I always tell life, there's not much you can do to me where I won't make an obstacle an opportunity. We never lose, we only learn lessons. If you wanna change your perspective. If you don't know how to do that, we'll show you how right now. Cause it's about to go down. You are tuning in to creating success out of failure. Creating success creating success out of failure. Out of failure.
Hey everybody, and welcome to this episode of Creating Success Out of Failure. I am here with Jessica Stroud, the lady CEO, and she is one bad motherfucker. Jessica, what's going on?
Well, that's quite an introduction. Thank you so much. I love it. When we were off camera, Jonathan's like, all right, we're going to talk about your failures. And I'm like, which one? And he's like, yes, that's exactly what I mean. Right?
Yeah.
That's exactly what I mean.
Hell yeah.
I'm like, I wrote a whole book about it. I got 15 hanging on the wall. What are you talking about? Yeah.
What's the name of the book real quick now that we're there?
Okay. Yes. So my book is called The Lady CEO, From the Corner of Poverty and Dysfunction to the Lady CEO. And the good news is I've been failing all my life. So it's like, we're going to play bingo to figure out which failure we're going to talk about.
It's funny. I posted up that people, I just got back from the syndicate meetup, best syndicate I've been to. And there was one theme throughout the entire summit was anyone that was there, it was consistency in one area. It wasn't somebody that was jumping around trying to do a million things. It was, hey, they got really good at that one thing and stayed in it long enough, took their ass kickings, failed enough times, and finally figured it out.
Yep. Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
So I don't mean to make light. I know there are going to be some listeners that are in the middle of a failure or a perceived failure, or at the end of it when those wounds are raw. And so I don't mean to make light of failing and people's feelings around failing, but I'm 43, right? So I've been around the block a few times. I've owned several businesses, married, got some kids, right? I've done a few things in my lifetime. #1 best-selling author. I've done a few things. And I've just gotten to the point where I failed so much, I don't even worry about it anymore. Right? I don't even worry about it. And off camera, right before you started, we were talking about social media and how you were saying people are posting up their reels. And for let's say every 2 ideas that I have that turn out great, there's 8 behind them that were so bad that failed and I didn't even talk about. So I have this thing that I tell myself, I either win or it's not over.
Yeah.
I either win or it's not over.
I love that.
I look back at some of the biggest failures that I've been through and the lessons I learned, I'm using today. I'm using in business today, right? One of my biggest failures happened when I was right around 30. And I was a realtor for 10 years and I left real estate in 2009. Now, for those of you youngins that aren't real sure what happened in 2009, the market was shit. Yep. Like it was. Now, all over the news right now, you're talking about, put a house up for sale, you get a bazillion offers in 2.5 hours, right? So let me preface that and go back and say that in 2008 and 2009, when you put your house up for sale, you had a 25% chance of even selling that house.
That's crazy.
So it was ridiculous, right? And so it's complete opposite of what we have going on now. But I had been in that career for 10 years. I had, just had two kids back to back. I was worn out. The market was terrible. And unfortunately, the story that I told myself is that I failed, right? That's what I carried with me, was that I failed. And now I look back and I wish I would have given myself the grace back then that I give other people, right? When people start talking about their failures to me, I'm like, can we give ourselves a little bit of grace, please? Because unless you win, it's not over. But there are things that I was not almost, let's see, 2008, 2009. That was 11, 12, 13, whatever years ago. And I'm still using the business lessons and the things that I learned from that career today. So are we really going to call it a failure?
Absolutely not. You know,
that's right.
You got to fail forward fast.
That's
and when
right.
you fail, I'm on my fourth marketplace lender, right?
Yeah.
Every iteration got better and better and better.
Yep.
Because you're taking the lessons that you're learning and you're applying them, implementing them, and moving on from there. So, I mean, that's really what it boils down to.
Let's look at it like a recipe, right? Okay, listen, I'm a little bit of a foodie. I'm a little bit of a dessert girl. Okay, that's how this goes. And if we have a recipe and Jonathan and I are trying to make a cake and we make a cake and it sucks, we're going to be like, okay, what did we miss? What do we need to go back and do? We're not going to say, oh, well, fine. Our dream is to open a bakery, but this cake recipe sucks. So we're going to scratch everything and we're just complete losers and failures. No, we're going to go back and be like, okay, what do we need to change in the recipe? Do we need to adjust the time? Do we need to adjust the this, just the that? So when I say either I'm winning or it's not over, I honestly feel that in my bones. And so when I wrote my book, it went number one bestseller, I think in 3 categories, which was pretty incredible, right? But
awesome.
It went number 2 in real estate sales. And, depending on what your religious beliefs are, whatever, when it hit number 2 in real estate sales, I just kind of sat back and thought, that is the universe laughing at me and saying, you felt like for years your biggest failure was in real estate, and now your book is the number 2 bestseller in real estate sales. So how is that? I'm like, that pie tastes pretty good.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a really tough market when I think about it. And the reason it was so tough.
Terrible.
One, the whole market was collapsing, real estate, stocks, everything. And banks weren't lending. So, I mean, it's not exactly an easy combination, right? And what people don't understand is that's right around the corner again.
Are we going to talk about that? Can we talk about that?
Do you want to? I mean,
I think things are about to bust wide open. I think that,
to the downside.
My personal opinion, the government is delaying the inevitable.
Oh, of course. Well, because think about it. What happens when shit isn't going the right way? What can the government do? They can print money. They can lower interest rates. Well, guess what? They can't lower interest rates anymore. And they've been printing money for the better part of the last 12 years. And basically our money is going to be worthless. Inflation's ramping up. And they just said they're going to try to stop basically putting money out there and printing money. And the only reason why the stocks are up, everything is up so much, is because we're in a zombie economy and people don't realize that. So basically what's going to wind up happening is they stop printing. And the zombie economy, and to anyone who's listening, the zombie economy is basically when the government keeps printing, okay, but there's no real transactions going on in the back end.
Like a Ponzi scheme.
Like a Ponzi scheme. And the scariest part, Jessica, is what? When the shit hits the fan?
Oh, I was like, I don't know, tell me.
Oh, okay. No, I actually went to college for economics.
Okay.
When the shit hits the fan, there's nothing they can do.
No. When everything collapsed in 2008 and 2009, it literally, the only thing that fixed it was time.
Mm-hmm.
So John and I sold our house in March or April, all runs together. And we know we sold our house for more than we could have ever gotten in any other market. And this couple that bought it, people are like, oh, well, if it appraises whatever, the amount of money that it appraised for a year from now, maybe now if they turned around and put it right back on the market, but they'll never be able to sell it for what they bought it for. I don't think they will. And listen, it's not my business, right? It's not my house anymore. I'm not a financial advisor trying to tell them what to do. I'm happy they came along and bought my house. I wasn't going to tell them no, but I don't know that I feel like what's happening now is the same thing that was happening back then, but whatever. Again, though, if you haven't failed enough, you're not going to learn those lessons.
Correct. But I don't think the trigger's the same. I don't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry. The trigger's not the same.
I feel like life is like different levels of a video game. Okay. And if you are constantly getting caught in the same situation again and again, it's because you didn't learn the lesson that you were supposed to learn the level before, right? You're playing Mario, whatever. There are things you got to learn in level 1 and level 2 to get you through level 3. And if you don't learn those lessons, you ain't getting through level 3. So I think there's going to be plenty of people who will be just fine when this little bubble collapses, myself included, because we learned some of those hard lessons in 2008, 2009, 2010, and made some big changes financially and with our family that it will not happen. It will not happen to us again, is what I'm saying. But there's some people who are going to be just fine, but there's be some people that are going to have to learn some hard lessons. But
That's actually the way you phrase that, Jessica. I've never heard. And that makes so much sense that life is like a video game.
It's like Mario Brothers.
Yeah. Mario Brothers 3, by the way, that was the best one.
Your boys play video games?
My oldest is trying to get into it. The youngest is 3, so he's still struggling. But I'll tell you, like some of the games now, I don't have the coordination. Like just shit. Like like in college I did, and since then I really don't have time. I enjoy it, but I don't know. What about yours?
My boys have the virtual. So my boys are 12 and 13, and they have the virtual reality.
Okay.
And so they're like, Mom, give it a try. And I put it on. I'm like, don't you dare put me in a scary video game. Don't you dare. They better not, because I take that thing and throw it and break it, not buy them another one. But it's interesting to hear them talking through it and moving through it and all of this. And I think it's so in my mind because they do play video games. And I'm like, if you don't learn the lesson here, the lessons you're learning here, you're going to have to get through that next level. But anyway, I'm also the person that says it's okay to fail. So
yeah, but think about it like this too, right? When you play a video game, you get to a certain point, and if you lose and you start back, right? From scratch. Now you run through those levels that you already beat because you know all the tricks, you know how to get past them.
Yep.
Right? Business is the same way. You just have to navigate certain things, and once in a while you're gonna get caught up on this or that. But if you understand the fundamentals and how to do it, you'll get there a lot faster, right?
Yep, that's right. So I never, growing up, I heard the different things. Starting probably in my early 20s, I heard the whole saying about whatever it is. It's not, it's not making the $1 million. It's the person you have to become to make the $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
And that really hits home with me these days because I'm not going to lose it all. Just FYI, I'm fine. Diversified. It's good. But I could lose it all. And just like you just said, I'd get it back much quicker. And I'd probably get double back because I get to start all over again with all the lessons I have. It'd be like going back to my 20s, knowing everything that I know now.
Yeah,
that
knowing
would
a
be
cheat code.
sick. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, that'd be incredible.
I'm right there with you. I probably never, besides the partners on PFIT, I'd probably, and my real estate partner, I'd never take on another partner again.
Think so?
100%. Because people, people like us, I will fucking not work anybody. You know what I mean? Like that is my superpower. I don't think I'm overly intelligent, overly anything. right? I just know I'm a very hard worker, and I'll get done whatever we need to fucking get done. And that's the bottom line, And anytime anything has failed or been put apart, it was either someone's core values weren't matching mine, or they just weren't putting up. So
I feel like, unfortunately, a lot of business owners, they get to a certain level and they see going backwards as a failure, right? So I have the privilege of coaching some business owners now. They're not just regular business owners, they're high business owners, right? High-minded business owners, which is a true privilege. But when they hit on hard times, I say, what I know is you're going to handle your business. Like if you have to go in, so one company that John and I own is an insurance agency. Well, if I wake up tomorrow and none of my people come in, or something happens and everyone goes away, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to answer the phone. Like I'm going to do quotes. I'm going to answer the phone. I'm going to look at the billing. I'm going to do what I can, because you and I know that we're not too good to do anything. We're looking out for the company. Whereas I think way too many business owners are like, oh, well, that's beneath me, or that's not my job. Listen, when it's your business, it's all your job. And if you start to slide backwards, you better get your ass in and handle it. Better get in and start handling it. Because if not, you're going to hit a failure, right? So we're talking about failure. But when I look back on something, I think there are plenty of things I could have done to stop that mudslide. There are plenty of things I could have done to stop the slide backwards. But I didn't see the warning signs, or I stuck my head in the sand, or whatever. I think life will give us plenty of warning signs. We just choose to ignore them.
Yep. That's true. You don't have the experience, you don't have the know-how,
At some point, though, that doesn't get to be an excuse. Like at 43, multiple businesses, the I didn't know or I didn't see it coming doesn't get to be an excuse anymore.
Correct. I agree.
Yep. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go.
I would say after so many failures, you don't get to turn that story into it's other people's fault or they messed up. At some point, you got to look at yourself and go, okay, what role did I play in this?
100%. I think you have to do that with any mistake, no matter how old you are, because if you don't, it's going to be repeated. It's going to be repeated. Like today, I had to let go of somebody. I was very proud of my team.
Yep.
They crushed it the 2.5 days I missed. And I get back, and one of our internal sales guys, our first internal sales hire, he reached out to me Sunday. Odd story. Didn't like the system. Okay, cool. Show me how you want to, do X, Y, and Z and do it better than we're doing. I gave him a little bit of room to be creative and see if he could bring something back to the table. Years ago, I would have told him to go pound sand.
Right.
And
so you're looking at it going, okay, what can I learn? I don't pretend to know everything. What can I learn?
What can I learn?
But you're also saying, don't bring me a problem without a solution.
Yep. You got it. And then I get a call from my ops manager. Hey, so-and-so is a pain in my ass. Yep. I got that. Super negative. Got that. He's on his last legs. Then I get a text today. Well, one other excuse from the guy. I said, hey, didn't I let you open this up and do this and do that? And where are we at now? Well, there was an excuse. I'm like, hey, this is not working. Whereas maybe years ago, I would have actually let him just earn his way, right? Because it's heavily based on commission. It's how you handle things, and people.
Yep.
It's having the right people. If you have the right people, you can accomplish anything.
That's right. But he was probably, if other people are complaining about him, that irritates me too, because your team is like a synergy. Just like you said, if you have the right people, but then if you got the one of the wrong people, he was pissing off other people, he was irritating other people, and you were hearing about it. So if he doesn't fit in with the team and if he can't get along with everyone else, then he's not a good fit anyway.
I agree.
So you asked him, right? To get out of here. Good for you. The team will run better without him.
That's true.
I think as leaders, we keep people on our bus for too long.
Yeah. I think one of the best things I heard was hire slow, fire fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I've had people call me before and go, how do I fire someone? And I'm like, quickly.
Yep.
So at one of our Apex executives meetup, one of the last ones, the CEO of Remax was in there. Him and Ryan Stewart are friends, and he came and he talked to us.
Mhm.
And he said, like, right, it's a group of like 150 people, and he said to us, the first time you think you might need to fire someone, that's exactly when you need to fire them. And it's a group of business owners, right?
Yeah.
And I swear to you, there was this collective.
Yeah.
We were all like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I wrote that down. I was like, oh my gosh. Adam told me I got to fire some people. Now I'm good. My team's good, right? But it was like, wow, he's right. The first time you think that you need to fire somebody, you got to get rid of them.
Oh, I get it.
Yep. Okay.
So we talked about the real estate being one of the failures. Give us another one on how you got past it.
Another one of my failures. So I think when we fail when we're younger, we're way harder on ourselves, right? And so I was one of those really smart girls that got married when I was 20.
Mhm.
Okay. For anyone who is 20 and is listening to this and is thinking about getting married, hit me up, slide in my DMs, because I'm going to tell you not to do it, because you're a completely different person at 25 than you are at 20, and then at 30 when you're at 20, right? Now, happy to announce, again, I'm on my second marriage, going on 18 years, so clearly I got it figured out. But when I ended my first marriage, I felt like such a failure, because I thought, A, I knew I shouldn't have done it to begin with. B, not only was I on a sinking ship, but I took other people down with me on the sinking ship. And I had to look at myself, like I really had to look at myself and say, what part did I play in this? Right? What can I learn from it? What part can I play in it? And I had to, here's how I got through that, right? I 100% turned the mirror on myself and said, I had to get clear on how am I not going to make this mistake again, right? How am I not going to do this again? So I took out a piece of paper and I wrote down the kind of partner that I wanted. Okay. I wrote it all down. Here's what I want in a future husband. Here's what I want. But then I had to look at that and go, what kind of a partner would that man want? And I had to look at myself and say, I don't know if this guy, this avatar, would this guy want to be with you? And I had to go, oh, I got some work to do.
Yeah.
I got some work to do. I had some self-improvement work to do. I had some mental, I had some physical, I had some financial. I had to get my shit together, because I knew based on what I was doing and the vibes I was putting out, who I was attracting, and it wasn't who I wanted to be with. So another big failure. But again, let's look at that and say, if I had refused to, I knew walking out of that, I was going to feel like a failure. Okay. But what if I refused to get out of that? What if you're on a sinking ship, you're on the Titanic, and you are still sitting at the bar, listening to the music, ordering drinks? You know, that shit's going down.
Mhm.
And you refuse to leave. What if I would have refused to leave? Like no kids, no mutual properties, no nothing. It was a clean split. But what if I would have said, no, I'm just going to stay for another 5 years?
Yeah.
So I feel like sometimes people will make failures worse by not admitting it's time to move on. Like they hang on way too long. You stay in the marriage too long. You stay at the job too long. You hang on to the company too long. You hang on to the company and you bleed your savings account dry because you think it's going to work. You know,
There's that's probably this whole last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Probably, and I'm not just saying this, I don't give a shit. And it's probably one of the wisest things that people have come on and said. And I've had everyone you could imagine on here, Ben Newman, Ryan, Tom, like just Jeff.
Yeah.
No one's ever once talked about a failure being a personal one and then how you related it to everything else that happens in life, I had the same shit with my last marketplace. I literally kept it all afloat and dealt with so much shit because I thought it would change, and it never did. So that's.
Was there any fear? Was there any fear inside of you? Like, I just don't want this to fail. I just don't want to.
Yeah, of course, because we're all fucking alphas.
Yeah.
And it's hard to admit that there's a failure there, right?
Yeah.
That's the truth. So you keep pushing, you fucking kill yourself. And you make up for other people's shortcomings, and then at the end, you sit there, and finally it's either going to hit you like a ton of bricks. Hey, I need to make a change.
Yep.
Make the change, or you're just going to stay fucking miserable and keep doing the same shit.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean that's perfect, honestly.
But you looked at it and you're like, okay, here we go. We're making a move.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, 4 years, I probably should have done it after year 2, to be honest with you.
But you're wiser because of it?
I would have been way wiser doing it after year 2. Way richer too.
I'm trying to be all like, where's the silver lining here?
Oh.
Come on.
Yeah. No, listen, I appreciate it. And I love you for like, hey, boosting it up. No.
No, Jessica,
listen.
You fucking sucked. I didn't learn anything.
Yeah,
I'm okay now, but I still got some scars.
No, listen, I learned from it. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
But you don't need the extra 2 years to learn the lesson. When you learn the lesson, good. That's right. like the kid that touches the hot stove, but the dumbass keeps his fucking hand on it for 2 years.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean? Pull your fucking hand off the stove. It's the same thing. So
it's like you saw the writing on the wall and you kept painting over it. No, I'm gonna put some paint on here.
Yeah. And for the record, I'm not telling people, and we're not telling people, Jessica and I are not telling you to give up. Okay?
No,
we're not telling you to abandon things early. What we're saying is when there is a clear and definitive issue and you've tried fixing it multiple times.
Yeah.
Multiple times. At some point you have to realize that it's time to move on.
People know. You can lie to everyone else. You can bullshit everyone else, but you cannot lie and you cannot bullshit yourself. And you personally know when you're going through a season, right? We all know when we're in the ramp up phase on our business. We all know that. We all know when we're in the down times. We all know that. But you know when it's time to let go and you just refuse to do it.
Yep. 100%.
You knew 2 years ago?
Yeah, I knew enough. Like when I first went to my first RTA summit and talked about some of the problems that were going on, when everyone said, hey, it's time. And then I held on a little bit longer, I knew going into it, everything was confirmed there. And we're talking 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So.
And we're talking about successful people giving you advice, like high level, intelligent, successful people.
Yeah,
people that know their shit. They know what they're talking about. Giving you advice.
100%. 100%. So again, it's cool how this all intertwines and how much knowledge and just learning from different things, right? Learning from different people. Man, I'm so glad we did this, Jess.
When are we gonna hang out? We need to hang out again.
Whenever you want. Wait, you're in Texas, right?
No, I'm in Kansas City. I'm in the middle.
Oh, okay,
I'll meet you in Texas. I'm there once a month.
I know you are. You guys I've been getting the calls, a lot of them.
You need to come on down, hang out with us.
It'll happen. Here's the thing. I got so much shit to execute on myself.
Yeah.
I've built so many machines. I know what I have to execute on.
All right.
However, I do love the group. Love you guys. Ryan has been amazing to me. Thomas is a good friend. Jeff is a good friend and partner on a lot of things. So
no matter how long it takes, there'll always be a seat right next to me.
All right, cool. Well, I appreciate you. And Jess, where can they find you? besides getting the book, which all you guys should get?
Yeah, so the book is $5.99 on Amazon. Just go in and Google Jessica Stroud, Lady CEO. I love social media. Okay, so I'm all over the socials. So you can find me on Facebook and you can find me on Instagram. And when I say socials, that's all I mean. I got the two things and that's it. You need advice, you want to talk to me, just slide into my DMs. It's only weird if you make it weird. Just say, hey, I heard you and Jonathan chatting about failure. I got someone to talk about. And I'll be like, all right, let's go. It's only weird if you make it weird.
It's only weird if you're asking for foot pics.
I haven't had a pedicure recently, so that's not happening, FYI. But if you scroll my feed on Facebook, I'm sure there's some there somewhere so you can get your fix without even talking to me.
That was good.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you, Jess, so much. And guys, please share this episode with someone that needs to hear it. That's all I ask of you. And leave us a 5-star review. We will catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Creating success out of failure. Creating success out of failure.
Thanks for tuning in to Creating Success Out of Failure. Please share this with someone that needs to hear it, post it on social media, and leave us a 5-star review. I'll catch you on the next one.
Creating success out of failure.